So come into a cross-legged position and let's begin focusing on our breath here. Reflecting inward, following the breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Do you naturally breathe into your belly or your chest? Do you find you clench your body as you're sitting here breathing? Just notice. Check in with your body energetically. Did you come to this class full of energy? Are you feeling a little tired, lethargic? Do you feel stiff? Do you feel loose? Mentally, how are your thoughts today? Are they kind, loving? Do you find that they're racing, or do you feel like you're clear, present, focused? And check in with your emotions. What words would you use to describe your emotions right now? You can say that to yourself. And let that go too. We'll add in that Ujjayi breath here if you haven't already. And just direct the breath down into the belly, calming the nervous system with those deep belly Ujjayi breaths. And I want you to make the breath as long as you can as you inhale, and as long as you can as you exhale. But pay attention to the body and try to do this without clenching anywhere. And if your mind wanders at all, again and again, we're going to bring it back to that breath, to the sensations in your body here on the yoga mat. This is a practice, and we'll just do it every time we notice that we've wandered. You can add a pause at the top and the bottom of your breath and see how that feels in your body. can take 3 more deep belly ujjayi breaths here. And you can open your eyes. And bring your hands together in front of your heart, thumbs pressing against your chest. I just want you to connect with your intention for being here in this class today. Why did you come to this class? What is it that you're hoping to get from this class, mentally, physically? My mantra for this class is transitions. As the seasons change from summer to fall, as the weather changes from hot to cool, as the leaf changes all around us. In nature, there are things changing. How does that change show up in your life? How do you respond to situations during these transitions, these changes? During this class, I really want you to focus on how you move in between the poses, as well as focusing on the poses. Do you move with love, attention? Are you present even in these transitions? Take 1 more deep breath here, really connecting to that intention. And release your hands to the ground here. We'll plant our left hand, breathe in, lifting our right hand up. And breathe out, stretching over to the left. Breathe in, lifting up, switching our hands. Breathe out, stretching over to the right. Breathe in, lifting up, switching our hands, stretching over to the left. Breathe in, lifting up, switching our hands, stretching over to the right. Notice your shoulders, try to keep them away from your ears. Breathe in, switching your hands. Breathe out, stretch over, and pay attention to your seat's bones, trying to keep them equally grounded as we stretch over. You can follow this movement to the rhythm of your own breath, and perhaps close your eyes to really pay attention to how this feels in your body. We want to follow the sensations in our body and use them as a guide in this class, in our lives. If it feels like a good stretch, that's a sign to go deeper into the pose. And if you feel any pain, any twings, any twangs that don't sit right with you, that's a sign to step back, to release from a pose. And breathe in, coming back to a neutral position here. We'll give our neck some circles. Looking up, we breathe in, and we breathe out, circling down and around, moving slowly with awareness. Breathe in, looking up. Breathe out, circling down and around. Breathe in, looking up. Hey, Auntie Liz. Breathe out, circling down and around. And we'll switch the other way. Breathe in, looking up. Breathe out, circling down and around. Breathe in, looking up. Breathe out, circling down and around. Breathe in, looking up. And come back to a neutral position here. We'll come onto our hands and our knees. into a tabletop position. Wrists underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Flowing into a cat-cow, we breathe in, bringing our belly to the floor, shoulders away from our ears, looking up, pressing the tops of your feet into the mat. Breathe out, we arch our backs, pressing our hands into the mat, looking up to our belly buttons, shoulder blades to the ceiling. Breathe in, bellies to the floor, looking up. Breathe out, arching our back, looking up to our belly button, shoulder blades to the ceiling. And once again, we'll follow the rhythm of our own breath, moving slowly with awareness, perhaps closing our eyes for a couple rounds. And on your next inhale, come to a neutral spine here. Big toes together, knees as wide as the mat. Hips onto our heels, setting up for wide-legged child's pose. Walking our hands out, forehead to the floor. And really surrender here to the ground. Allowing our body weight and gravity to pull our body weight. Stretching out our hips. Bringing our chest really close to the ground, our heart space. As we breathe in, we fill ourselves with that grounding, nourishing earth energy. And as we exhale, we release any stress, anxiety, any tension, fears, or blocks, anything that's no longer serving us back down into the ground. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. Breathe in, coming again to that tabletop position. And as we breathe out, we curl our toes under, lifting our hips to the ceiling for our downward dog. And here we'll pedal out our legs, stretching one out, stretching the other out. Taking our time here. Feeling our hands, our fingers, our knuckles pressing into our mat. Maybe you lift one leg up and lower it down. Lift the other leg up. Lower it down. And slowly we walk our feet to meet our hands. Coming into a forward fold here. You can grab your elbows, really allowing that body to rest, to release. Shaking your head yes. Shaking your head no. What do you say yes to in your life, and what do you say no to? Breathe in, rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly and surely. Breathing, we lift our hands up over our heads. And as we exhale, we bring our hands together in front of our chest, in front of our heart, pressing our thumbs against here. Take a couple deep breaths, paying attention to your feet in the ground here. You can lift your toes a couple times. And again, imagine that you're lifting that grounding, nourishing earth energy up the arches of your feet, up the front of your body, filling you up completely. And as you exhale, you release that energy. Anything negative, any fears, blocks, anxieties down into the ground. Wonderful. We'll come into the middle of our mat here and we're going to do our full moon yoga flow. We breathe in, lifting our hands above our head, grabbing our left wrist with our right hand. We breathe out, bending over to the right here, stretching out that left side body, shoulders away from the ears. Your hip will naturally bop to the left, keeping your feet both firmly and evenly planted. Breathe in to come up, switching your hands. Breathe out, stretching over to the left here, giving your right side body that nice stretch, allowing your right hip to bop to the right. Breathe in to come up, switching. Breathe out to stretch over. Shoulders away from your ears. Breathe in to come up. Breathe out to stretch over. Breathe in. With hands on our hips, we open up our legs into a wide-legged position here. We're gonna bring our heels slightly in, toes pointing out, and bend our knees. You might widen your stance as needed, trying to get those thighs parallel with the ground for goddess pose here. You can use your thighs for support, or we bring our hands up to the ceiling, bending our elbows at a 90-degree angle. I like to sway back and forth here or bop a little just to help. Tuck that tailbone and breathe, connecting to our inner goddesses here, using that full moon energy to energize us in this moment. For 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna straighten our legs. Pivoting so that our left foot is facing the front of your mat and the right foot is parallel with the front back of the mat, setting up for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Breathe in, opening up your arms, looking over that left hand. Breathe out, we bend left hand to left shin here. Keeping a micro bend in your left knee so we don't lock that knee. And once you're at your shin, you may go a little lower. You may decide this is far enough. And breathe, shoulders away from your ears. This is a great place for a block if you find you can't comfortably reach the ground. Breathe in, maybe you look up to the ceiling for a moment. And breathe out. Breathe in, lifting yourself back up. And we're gonna pivot our hip, our back foot, so that both our hips are parallel here. Ooh, setting up for pyramid pose. So both feet facing forward. Breathe in, lifting your hands up. Breathe out, bending over that front left foot. You may stop at the shins or reach your hands down to the ground. And you'll feel a deep stretch in that hamstring, that left glute, that calf, basically everything behind that left leg. Breathe here a couple moments, feeling that stretch. Perhaps releasing your body even further down. or perhaps releasing yourself from this position if it does not feel good for you. From here, we'll breathe in, looking up, and step that right foot back, lowering that right knee, pointing or curling those right toes, coming into a low lunge. You can breathe in, using that left thigh for support or hands up over your heads. Really sinking into that lunge. Breathe in one more time. Breathe out, bringing your hands onto the right side of that left foot. And we're gonna come up and pivot into our wonky side pose. So from that low lunge, we twist, right foot facing up. You may be on the toes of that left foot, and you may keep your hands on the mat here. But if you can flatten that left foot down, go ahead. You may bring your hands together in a prayer position, pressing that left elbow against that left knee. If you fall, I've done that many times. Just get back into it. Breathe in. Breathe out. From here, we'll walk our hands together, coming into a wide-legged forward fold, bringing our feet together, coming down into a nice yogi squat. Hands together in front of your heart here. Really reaching that tailbone down to the earth, to the mat. Trying to keep your spine straight, shoulders away from your ears here. Breathing. I'm just gonna check with my internet because I see you guys freezing a couple times. Am I freezing?
No.
No? Okay, cool. Cool. Just making sure.
Not for me anyway.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, from that yogi squat, we're going to walk over to the right here, stretching that left foot out, doing that wonky side pose on the other side. And you may stay up on the toes of that right foot with your hands in front of you. But if you're able to, maybe lower that right foot all the way down. Bring your hands together in front of your chest, using that right hand against that right knee. Breathing. From here, we're gonna pivot, coming into that low lunge, lowering the left knee, pointing or curling those left toes. We'll align that ankle underneath our right ankle, underneath our right knee, and then we'll breathe in, coming up, hands up over our head, or using that left thigh, right thigh for support. Make any adjustments you need. Breathing. And we release, framing that right foot, lifting that left foot up and stepping it closer, setting up for that pyramid pose. Let's breathe in, lifting ourselves all the way up. Breathe out. Make sure your hips are parallel here, both feet facing forward. We'll breathe in, lifting our hands up. And breathe out, folding over that right leg. Stop at the shin, see how that feels before lowering down more. Perhaps you drape your whole body over that front right leg. Feeling a deep stretch in that right hamstring, that right calf, that right glute, basically the back side of the right leg. And breathe here. yourself all the way up. We're gonna pivot on that back left foot, making it parallel with the back in front of your mat, setting up for Trikonasana. We open up our arms, gazing over that right hand with a soft gaze. Bop your left hip to the back of the mat. And as you breathe out, you bring your right hand down to your right shin. See how that feels before touching the mat here. Breathe in, maybe looking up to the ceiling, opening your heart to the world, to each other, to the room. Taking deep breaths here. Breathe in, lifting yourself up all the way. Pivoting on that right foot, coming into that wide-legged standing pose. We'll take our toes and point them outwards and bend, coming back into that goddess pose, tucking our tailbone, using those thighs for support or bending your arms. I love to do spirit fingers and sway here. See if you can really pay attention to your feet, lifting your toes a couple times, trying to lift from those arches. We don't want to collapse in our arches. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We straighten our legs. We can hop our feet together. Breathe in, reaching our hands up over our head, grabbing our left wrist with our right hand. Breathe out, bending over to the right here. Hips bob to the left. Breathe here a couple times. Stretching out that left side body. Breathe in, grabbing your right wrist with your left hand. Breathe out, stretching over to the left. Hips bob to the right. And breathe here a couple times, stretching out that right side body. Breathe in, coming back up. Hands together, breathe out. Hands together in front of your chest. Smile here. And breathe in and out. Slowing your heart rate down with your breath here. We're going to take some free movements here. With your arms, your body, whatever might feel good to you standing here. And we're slowly going to make our way down to the ground. And we'll open up our legs into a wide-legged seated pose. I find this pose so challenging and also so beneficial as I continue to do it. It's really helped with any lower back pain. I used to have a hamstring tear. I really feel like it's helped that. It helps me to open up my hips and see my legs as two separate things compared to like my hip as being just this one. I know it's one bone, but there's like two legs in it. I don't know. It's been really great. So wherever you are, try to ground yourself in your seat bones here. You can grab your thighs, rolling your shoulders back, lifting yourself up. And as you breathe out, we'll walk our hands forward, finding a place of stretch. And we're going to stay here for about 1.5 minutes. And just do a body scan here, starting at your head, your face, your jaw. Notice if you're scrunching your face at all, if you're holding tension in your jaw. Check to see if your shoulders are creeping up to your ears and bring them back down. Check in with your glutes, your knees, your feet, your toes. And if you're clenching anywhere, try to release that. We really want to allow this stretch to take hold. And when we clench our muscles, we counter it. It may be a sign that you are too deep in the stretch and that you need to release a little. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. And on your next inhale, walk yourself up, walking your hands towards your pelvis. Bring our feet together into Baddha Konasana. Stretching out our inner groin here. You can flap your wings a couple times, especially after that wide-legged pose. Again, stack your pelvis, your chest over your pelvis, using your hands against your ankles here, pulling yourself up. Breathe in and breathe out. We'll fold over, finding a place that's comfortable for you, releasing your head, your neck. We'll be here again for about 1.5 minutes. Take 3 more deep breaths. Breathe in, lifting ourselves up. And breathe out. You can bring your hands behind your back here. bending your legs, feet in front of you. Let your knees fall to the left and fall to the right. Ooh, feels so good after those two stretches. Giving your femur bone a really nice internal and external rotation. We're going to come into our meditation portion of the evening. If you would like to go into Shavasana for this meditation, please do, lying on your back in a comfortable space. Or if you'd like to stay upright, seated, that is totally an option today as well, any day as well. For this meditation, I would like to focus on emotions. And if you are right now in an emotion that you're enjoying, if you would like to stay where you are, if you're peaceful, serene, happy, joyous, whatever emotion that feels really good, I want you to stay with that. And if you're feeling something that you would like to change, that you would like to transition from, I would like you to focus on the emotion that you would like to transition to. If you want to bring more love in, more compassion, more joy, peace, serenity. So pick the emotion that you want to be in, whether it's staying where you are or changing from one to the other. And we're going to close our eyes here. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine that emotion. What brings you joy or happiness or love? Picture that in your mind and breathe it into your body with every inhale. And breathe it out of your body with every exhale. Taking deep, conscious breaths, really focusing on that emotion filling you up. And exhale. You're feeling that emotion take hold of you. Where do you feel that joy, that peace, that serenity? Notice it in your body and see if as you breathe and focus on that intention of it growing, can you make it bigger? Can you feel it expanding? Perhaps it is expanded to your chest, to your neck. Do you feel it in your arms? As you continue to breathe it in and out, do you feel it in your legs? Do you feel it in your face? The top of your head, your crown chakra. And I want you to go beyond your physical body here and fill up your aura, that space about a foot around your body, that personal space, and fill it up with that emotion. Passing that physical body. And And as we continue to breathe in and breathe out this emotion, it goes beyond our auras, beyond that personal space, about 6 feet around our bodies. If you're near a wall, maybe it bounces off the wall a little. Just filling up this room a little more with whatever emotion it is that you are focusing on. Your body is tingling with this emotion as you breathe it in and breathe it out. As you breathe in next, it grows, filling up this entire room with that emotion. Breathing it in, breathing it out. You are sitting in it, you are surrounded by it, enveloped in it. Next, it surpasses this room and fills the entire house, building, structure that you're in. The beams, the floor, the ceiling vibrates with this beautiful emotion that you are holding on to. It surpasses this structure and grows to the neighborhood that you're around, touching all the people in it, sharing this beautiful emotion with them. It goes further to the city, breathing that in, to your whole country. Our emotions are all overlapping now, and the world. Imagine in your mind the whole world, a beautiful layer of whatever emotion you are holding on to. And as you calm your breath a little bit, it starts to recede back to our country, back to the city, back to your neighborhood, back to the structure that you're in, back to the room, back to 6 feet from your body, back to your aura, about a foot from your body. And this is where it will stay with you for the rest of the evening, or as long as you would like to keep it. And we'll just stay here, seeing how it feels as we breathe. If you were in one space transitioning to another, have you felt that change? And just notice it. Stay with your breath for a couple more minutes here. I'm going to share some soothing music for us all. thoughts are wandering, just bring them back to that feeling, the sensations in your body, the beautiful emotion that we filled ourselves with. Stay with the breath, the music, a little longer here in this present moment. You are exactly where you need to be. And anything else you have going on can wait a couple minutes. Just take 3 more deep breaths. Wonderful. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring your knees to your chest, rolling to one side, and lift yourself up. Back to the seated position, ending where we began. We're going to finish with 3 chants of Om here, keeping that beautiful energy flowing. We'll bring our hands up to our third eye, breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. Namaste. Feel free to unmute and say hi before you go.